Dear students, today we are going to see the fundamental of Java programming, right? So that is the one of the course which we offer in Charusat University, Changa, Associated Institute, DEFSA, Devang Patel, right? So we are offering that subject in third semester students of computer science and engineering, computer science and IT as well as. So we will see the fundamental of Java programming. Myself is Mohammad Hussain Bohra, the assistant professor in the TechStar, right? So we will see, and what is the aim of this particular lecture is what we are going to cover the very important aspect of the learning core Java programming. Why Java is still in market, whether it is existing in market or not. A lot of programming, other programming languages are also there. So, what is the challenge? What is the advantage of learning? Whether we have a good job profile with Java programming, any certification course. So, understand that this language is also very tricky language, right? And and parallelly, you can have a comparison with other programming languages, right? So let's we will see the one by ones, and for any doubts, any questions, you can put into the comments. So later on, I will try to solve it, right? We'll give the good reference also for related to it. So this is the first chapter in our syllabus as well as so, and that will be covered, right? So the following topics which we can cover throughout. I'm not going to cover every word, right, one by one, but throughout these lectures you will come across the number of things we will cover from it, right, directly and indirectly. Okay, so let's start. Importance of Java programming in IT industry. So yes, of course, I think Java is still exists in market. It's still important for the development. A lot of applications are there which will develop on Java programming only, right? So why is important? So why is Java important? See, if we talk about the Android application, so initially it's totally on Java platform. So later on we are having the another version that is what the Kotlin. So mobile application development. So the very basically you need the Java. You can have a different testing frameworks. So they use Java programming. So big data you can perform using Java as well as some web service applications you can design, and this is the basic, right? After it you have to be moved to the what advanced Java concept, and that advanced Java, after learning that Java advanced Java, so you can move to the Spring web services, JSF. So before moving that, so it's required. So after experting and having experience in a Java and advanced Java, so you can have a good job profile as well as in market also they are offering. So oracles are having that kind of certification course, and so you can go to that certification course, and definitely you are having a great scope in the future. So Java is still, right, existing in market, and you can build your career with Java. Okay, what is difference between C++ and Java? Right, I hope you guys are aware about C and C++. You also clear that programming fundas in the previous semesters, maybe in schooling. So with Java you can compare it very well. Java offer the many features. So before just giving the ideas of the features, so this is what another way to make a difference. So with the programming you can make a clear difference. So very first, if we talk about C and C++, so they are having header files. So hash include, hash IO stream, like that. So but in Java we are having import statement. So we have to import the packages. So there is a header file, here is the what package, and that header file having the what functions. So printf, scanf, cout, cin, but in a package like a java.lang, which contain the what classes, like system class, string class, and that classes contain the what methods, right? So that is the what flow kind of. Another difference you can have uh, in programming context. So once you compile the program, so in C and C++, directly operating system will execute that machine code. But in case of Java, we are having another intermediator, right? So that is come with the Java installation. So we call it as JVM, Java Virtual Machine. So our So there is a machine code, but here is a bytecode. We call as a dot class file as well as, so which will make the machine independent. Fine. So that bytecode means dot class file will get executed by the what JVM. Fine. So this is another difference. So similarly, you can have a lot of other difference, and then later on you can move to the what the features which Java offer and which is not part of the C and C++. So with a good example. So clear that difference with the good example. So any if you are answering to anybody which is the what the interviewer or maybe the developer, so have a clear understanding of your concept. So that's important. What are the classes elements in the Java? So for learning the Java applications, basically what Java, first of all, Java is totally what class based language. So everything which you are going to be execute, it should be inside of what class only. It is not outside of class. It should be in a class only. So the class having the basic five elements, which we call as the variables, methods, constructors, instance block, and static block. So five element, very essential five element. You must be clear about all the five component of the what class. So if you understand how to use it, where to declare the variable, what is the scope, what is the type of the variable, type of the method, use of the constructor, use of the blocks, right, where we call the instance block, static block, so then you will be very much clear about the what fundamental of the Java, because it's every big programming is what inside all such five components. How many keywords in Java? If I ask you, tell me the keywords in the C programming language, so you know the numbers. So 32 and 32 plus programming keywords are there. Suppose I ask you to just recall all, so you will try and you will just put in your finger that you are trying to count all the 32. So maybe after 20 and 22 you will be get stuck, right? Might be possible. So it's better to have a good way of classification of the keywords, right? So you will be memorize all. So but in Java you are having 50 plus keywords, so it's again depend on the version of the Java, right? So in Java 8 we are talking about the Java 8 version. So we are having 50 plus keywords, right? So let's classify the all the keywords into the different types. So it would be very easy to memorize all, and in your fingerprint you can recall all the 50 plus keywords very easily. See, so data types, flow control statement related keywords, right? We are having exception handling related, class level, object level, method level, modifiers, unused, right? So these are the few classifications, and few of the other keywords which will come with the Java version. So that is also there. So you can classify accordingly, right? For the this is my personal classifications, right? So you can refer it. So let's count, right? In case of data types, we are having 8, right? Byte, short, int, long, float, double, character, boolean. So these all 8 data types related to the what data types of Java. Flow control related. So we are having 10: if, else, switch, case, default, break, for, while, do, and continue. In case of exception handling, we have 5 keyword: try, catch, finally, throws, and throw. We are having class level. So class level include class, extend, interface, implements, package, import. Object level, new, these, super, instance of. Method, so we know the syntax of the method, right? Doesn't return, so void. If it is written, so there is a return statement. Modifiers, very important, right? So again there is a difference. If I ask access modifiers, so access modifiers are what public, private, and protected, and in Java we are having default as well as in this category. Apart from that modifiers, so this is the access modifiers, but modifiers which come into the what synchronized, strict FE, native, transient, volatile, abstract, final, and static. So this is again very important modifiers. All Java concepts are across such modifiers. If you are having good understanding of all the modifiers with class level, object level, method level, then only you are able to create a good programming, right? And you solve the problems effectively. So there are two unused modifier which is get removed, right? Java 8. So go to end constant because it's just violate the rules of the Java accessing and all. So Java 8 having another two keywords they have proposed, right? So in every version they propose the few keywords. So in enum and assert. So another just view of the what reserve keywords. Fine. So data types, modifiers, the control statement related, class, package, instance means object, and some other unreserved or reserved for future use kind of keywords. How many types of methods in Java, right? So there is no any this is another type which I have described here, and divided the methods. Otherwise what we are having methods, method having return type, method having function, method having name, the input arguments, like that. But understand, we are having 11 modifiers. So the few of the modifiers are applicable, so almost all modifiers are applicable with the methods, so that's why the methods are divided into the types. So if I recall, so there are 20 plus methods, right? This is my number, right? You can just and again, this is not any oracle defined methods count, right? So instance types of method, static methods, oops types of methods, normal methods, abstract methods, right? Getter method, setter method, overriding and overloading methods, final methods, native method, public, private, protected, default, such type of methods, right? So these all are the methods if you count. So there are 20 types of 20 plus types of methods are also there, right? How many types of classes in Java? Understand. So again, there's that number means 7 plus which I define here. So this is also again depend on which type of modifiers are applicable to the class level, right? So accordingly I just define the types: normal, abstract, final. Final means kind of the we are not allowing the inheritance, so there's a type of final. Abstract means are not allowing to make the object of that class. Immutable means changes is not allowed, changes is allowed. Singleton means we are allowing only the one object for that class. So that is the what type of the class. And maybe more than other some methods are also classes are there. Apply if you apply the modifier, then automatically the type of class will be there. What are the steps to design the first applications in the Java, right? If you are very beginner and very first you are developing the first Java application, so this is what simple steps which you must know. That's why, otherwise there is nothing big inside. So first select the editor, which is important. Don't directly move to the word IDE, any integrated development one like the Eclipse, NetBeans and others, BlueJ. But basically just work on the what editor first. Any you can choose any one, Sublime Text, Notepad plus plus, Notepad, whatever, right? Then write the application, Java application. So you must be know the syntax, the basic syntax of the Java, and then you can start the application. Save the Java application by .java. So there is some rules are there, right? Sometimes the people, the students are not aware about what are the rules, because they always save the particular file, the particular application by the class name, but sometimes it's tricky, right? If it is asked in interview, so you must be answerable. So I will explain you later in the so what is the rule to save the application. Compilation, so there is a javac is the command, right, which is get installed with the Java application with the and then file name, so javac and file name dot java. So that is what the compilation command in command line tool. And execution, for the execution we are having command on the Java and then file name only, right, without any extension. So these are the 5 steps to which you have to be perform if you are working on editors, right, and execute the program in the command line CMD mode. So you have to follow all such steps and perform the execution. Difference between IDE and editor. So why I'm in recommending you to use the editor, because editor will give you the 100% understanding of the programming. Because if you are very beginner and you are writing the program, you have to be do some mistakes, right? Maybe sometimes you forget the semicolon, curly braces. And Java is also cache sensitive language, so you cannot put, suppose there is a one class system we call in a Java, so for printing any string into the console, so that s must be capital because that represent as a class. So there's some nomenclature also there. So you cannot define the system with a small s, so it will be generate an error. So and some of number of errors can be generated if you, but you have to practice that errors into the what editor, because editor will give you the what complete exceptions, types of the exception and the related message, which IDE will automatically what resolve. So debugging are automatically done in the what ID. But for the good programming point of view, so you must be what you just debug the program by yourself. Then only you can encounter all types of the exceptions. Otherwise, not possible. So IDE will do your 80% of the job, right? Only you have to put just logic. It will give you the complete syntax. It will give you the braces, semicolon, and all such things will be automatically take care by the this is just recommendation for the beginners, right? Not for the advanced one. For in advanced Java programming, so you make sure you use the word ID, because you are not able to be handle all such different directories and folders. So in this case you can move to the word ID, so which is recommended. But in case of beginners level, so use the editor, right? So the first program Java application, see there is a one class defined with the demo name. So D is the capital. So this so class is the just keywords here, right? Public static void main. So there is a main method. Similarly in C and C++, we are having the main methods, right? From the main the execution will be started. So Java also having the main method. But you can see some other modifiers which is added. Void is the keyword, right? The method level keyword. So main doesn't return anything. So the void is put it here. Another keyword public in static. So there are actually 5 keywords are there, the 5 modifiers which are applicable to the main method, fine. But out of 5 there are two are the mandatory, fine. So if I recall all the 5, so public, static, the tools are given here, and the 3 more strict, FP, synchronized and final. But the remaining 3 are the optional. So but the public and statics are mandatory. Without this your program will not be get compiled. It will generate an error, right? The order can be anything. So you can put static first and public next, it is fine. But the 2 modifiers are required, right? So what is the role of the public here? Because that man method is what a public method. Public in the sense anybody can access that method. And once we are going to be execute, so that JVM will call that main method and execute the what program. So JVM is totally external entity. So that's why we have to give the permission to the what JVM to execute the main. So that's why we keep the public method. So method as a public, and static we don't need the object for that method. So in Java actually this is the class. So everything class based language. So everything will be inside a class. So for executing anything, so you have to make the object and then only it will be get executed. But for the execution of the main method, so we don't require to create an object. So that's why we keep that method is static, right? So JVM will execute that method without having any object. String args is string is the another class. So that is not mandatory. Always you have to put the string. You can have integer, float, you can try with this. So you can put all the other wrapper classes of the data types, right? But string we generally use because anything. If you input from the command line, if you give the argument, so the input can be anything, right? Later on you can typecast into the appropriate types and then you can use it for any calculation. So basically you want any users put anything. So initially user will not aware what type of input I have to give. So in this case it will just check and then it will suggest the type of this input is this. So then curly braces. So we know the curly braces is for the just block structure. It will maintain the block structure. So it will check the scope of this method. System is the class. You can see underscore. So S is capital. That's the nomenclature for the inbuilt predefined methods classes. System.out.println, system is the class, right, defined in a java.lang package. So there is one default package I have not imported yet here. I will tell you later on why. Out is a static member of the system class, and println is the method of print writer class, right? So and the hello Java is the string we are passing over here. Semicolon for the terminations, right? So I hope you are clear with all the keywords, main method and the print statement. What if in a source file contain multiple classes, then how to save the application, right? So there is only one class, right? So then generally what the people understand, the class having the main method, so my file name should be that class name only. So this is another, so suppose what I'm putting here, another example, if you are having a source code and having three classes, fine. So now what is the name of that file, what is the name of that applications? So whether it is saved with demo.java, yeah, a.java, b.java, or any other name, suppose sample.java, right? What options we have, right? So that's a rule, right? You must know about it, right? So there are, so here there are three user defined classes, fine. There are three user defined classes. User defined means so user have defined, I have defined, right? So we are the user. Predefined in the sense matlab system. So system is the predefined classes defined in a package java.lang. So that system is the predefined, string is the predefined class. But the demo A and B are the user defined classes, right? So there is a one basic rule of saving the source file in a Java. So first of all, what I have to do, you have to check the whether your class, whether your application having any public class or not. If it contain a public class, then source file name must be your public class name, right? That is the rule. Otherwise, it will generate an error. Fine. If there is no public class, all class are the what user defined and not any public modifier, so then what, you can save it by any name, right? You can save it by any name. What if the source file contain public class? So see, so in the same example I just change and I keep demo as a what my public class and other remaining two user defined class as a what normal class, means default, nothing is defined, means default. So in this case you have to be make sure you can save that particular file, that particular application by demo.java only, right? See another thing, if here another questions, right? But demo class was public and the demo contain the main method, right? But here demo is not public class but demo contain the main method. Here the class A is the public but A doesn't contain the main method. So sometimes what we have a misconcept, that is what the class which having the main method, so we will save that particular application by that class, right? But here you, as you can see here, the A is the public but A is empty class. Similarly B is empty class but B is default, not a public. So it is now mandatory for the user as a rule that you have to save that particular application by a.java, right? Not by demo.java. So then for the executions you have to execute by java demo, then only your hello java will get printed, otherwise not, because a doesn't contain main method. If you call, if you execute that particular file by java a, it will generate an error because there is a no main method in a, right? So jvm is not able to find the main method. So for the executions you have to write the command in a cmd java demo, because demo.class file will be generated by java c. Okay, so can we save that java application by any names? So no, no, not at all, only a.java. So rule, public class save source by same name, no public class save by any name, right? Okay. Compilations, for the compilations we are having what, java c. So that java c is what get installed. So there is a one command, if you go and extract the folders you will get the java c, right, file. So from the command line we can execute. So once you are executing in a command line, so make sure you have to set the java jdk path into the what environment variable. So you can test it, right? So in a beginning you just type the command line, command is java c, so it will generate an error because might be possible you have not set up the path of jdk into the what environment variable. So if you want to access that particular command java c and java from anywhere from your location of the directory, so make sure you have to give the path up to the jdk for that one, and set another java underscore home variable with the given path name. Then only your java c and java will be identified by the operating system, otherwise not, because that is not the internal command installed with operating system. So that is the external command which come from the another software. So you have to be, you make sure that your operating system will know about that command, so where the meaning of that command is what. So you have to give the path symbol. So set the environment variable. Okay, so with the java c whenever you are going to execute, so they are having some responsibility, right, of the java c means compiler. So I hope you know in a C and C++ also, whenever we are compiling, so during the compilation, the role is what, it will perform the syntax error. Suppose somebody missed any syntax, semicolon, curly braces, some other small letter, capital letter, the mismatch. So then that is what compilation. So it will check the syntax error. But another options which is another actions which is performed by the Java C in Java, that is what it will convert Java file dot Java file into dot class file, right? See here. So dot Java file will be converted into dot class file that we call as a bytecode. Bytecode means because of that bytecode, the Java is platform independent. You just need the JVM into that machine, so that bytecode, that class file will be get executed. But C programming is not platform independent, platform dependent, right? Right. There's another major difference between that programming languages. Now see here, we are having same example. I have saved this particular file, save that application by sample.java, right? So why? Because there is no public class, so I am free to save my application by any name. So I given the sample.java. Fine. Okay. So during the executions, so once I'm going to compile first, so what will be my command? Java C sample dot Java. Java C space sample dot Java in a command line. So it will generate the what classes file, because it will check the syntax error. So there is no syntax error here. So now the second action is what, generate the dot classes file. So you are having demo dot class, a dot class, b dot class kind of class will be generated. So during the execution, see what are the responsibility of the execution, means execution process. So basically that JVM, so it's again part of the what JDK. So Java Virtual Machines, as I told you, JVM will execute the what man method. JVM is very important. So whatever the decision will not be handled by the user, which should be handled by the JVM. It's a virtual machine which will execute what your program, Java application. But in C and C++, the operating system will execute the what man method. Fine. So what is the role and what is the responsibility of the what JVM? So what it will perform? It will check the dot class file, right? Already generated dot class file, which is generated already. So now it will check whether dot class files are available or not. If it is not available, it will straightly say there is an error. The file is not found. If it is available, then it will load that dot class file into the memory, main memory. Fine. This is the very first option. And second, the JVM will call the main method and start the what execution. Important two actions. Sorry. So it will found, it will load into the memory. So whenever it will load into the memory, understand this is a very important fundamental concept between the instance and static. So whenever we talk about the static, so static members are initialized during the what, when JVM load that component into the what memory. So all variables are get initialized. But in case of instance, it is not initialized here. It will initialize once we create the object. So you will understand that meaning later on once we start the discussion about the instance variable, static variable, what is the difference. And then JVM will call the what, main method and start the execution from here. So still, if you have any questions, any doubt related to so far what we have covered the basic of the, how to create the program, the basic 5 steps. So you just put into the comments and I will try to solve your doubts with best of my knowledge, and will give some other reference, right, for your questions. See, let me know whether it is valid or not. So what is here? So they are see, there is a one class demo. The class is what, public. Fine, having main method. Another class A which is not public but is it is default, and having main method. Another user defined class is a class B. It's not public, but having main method. Fine. So there are three classes. The one is public, remaining two are not public, right? All classes cannot be public. Understand? Public demo, public A and public B. It is not allowed. Only one class should be a public class only. Fine. Another, but all the classes are having main methods, right? So is it valid? So definitely it's valid. There is no harm, there is no problem with the compilation. But understand, during the executions, you must be know, or you must be pass the class, the particular class which you want to execute, because all classes having the main method. So there is no problem, it's totally valid. But in general, that is not a programming style, right? So basically, we keep only one class as a public, and that class will have a main method, because we treat like one class is the controller class, and other classes are maybe the part of the classes, subclasses and other main classes, but we are using it. So main will transfer the control to other class, will get some output, and will again interpret in a next level. So there is only one controller, there is not many controllers. I hope you understand. So one controller will control the whole application. Fine, you have multiple classes, no issue. But during the execution, you have to be called right. But in practice, we don't prefer such type of application. There are few enhancement in the application. That is what the Java. How many packages in Java? So where you can find the packages, so you have to be just extract that folder where the Java you have installed. So if you found in Java 8, there are 14 plus packages are there, right? So packages are changed with the version. So out of the 14 packages, there is one package is optional, right? And because they have observed, we need as you can see here in the example, the system and string, these are the two classes which we need every time. So, and again, I have not imported. So in C programming, C++, having printf, scanf, cout, C, you have to be import the header file, right? You have to be include it, hash include. But here we have not imported yet, right? Why? Because that two classes are defined in a default package, the optional package. So you don't need to be what import again and again, right? So that's why the simple. So java.lang package is the default package out of all. And why we keep as a default or optional package? Because string and systems are the two classes which we needed in all the applications, right? So that's why. Basic data types in Java. So first, tell me what is the purpose of the data types in any of the languages you use in a C, you use in a C++ also. If you are declaring any integer type, so suppose I want to define the age, so the age must be the integer, right? So why? So what is the purpose, right? What is the purpose of that data types? So understand, the thing is what, it will define the types of the variable first. Second, it will decide the memory size, how much memory I needed, right? Suppose I can store the age into the integer, so it's fine, or maybe in a short as well as. You don't need a long type of data types for the age attributes, right? Variables. So memory also matters. Third is what, range. You have to decide the range. Suppose I want to be store my account number, if I want to store my account balance, and if you use the integer type of variable, so again it will not fit into the range as well as. So you need bigger memory, bigger range. So accordingly we decide the what data types. So understand, whenever you decide any data types, you must go through the what, the purpose, and then accordingly you decide which type of data type is appropriate for that type of variable, right? Then automatically you will get understand. So these are the basic purpose. Three purpose we have: type of variable, memory size, and the range. It's very important. So 8 fundamental data types: byte, character, short, int, long, float, double, and boolean. And you can go through the size of the data types. So byte is having 1 byte. Similarly, character is 2 byte. Short is also 2 byte. Int is 4 byte. Long is 8 byte. Float is 4 byte. Double is 8 byte. And Boolean, there is no size. Understand? It's very tricky again. Java is totally tricky, right? The lot of rules, a lot of concepts are there to understood the complete programming. So Boolean, there is a no such type of size, but there are two fixed variables are there, true and false. Right. Another bigger difference here, if you compare with C and other programming languages, so you cannot represent true by 1 and false by 0. No, that is not. So JVM will not understand 1 and 0 here with respect to true and false. So you must be defined true and false. Then only JVM will identify, right, what is the meaning of defining that concept. Okay. So there are data types. You can see the range. You can see your range, right? You must be aware about the range, so it will be help you to decide the appropriate types, right? These all are the IEEE standard, right? Range. And also depend the compiler. So there are few coding convention in a Java, right? Which you must be aware and you must follow, I think. So that is a good programming practice. So suppose I'm a developer in a company and I have developed some applications, and if I will not follow that coding convention, so it would be very difficult to understand somebody else who is understanding my code, right? So it's better to have a coding convention. So basically that coding convention is applicable to the predefined classes, but user defined classes, method also, variables also you can follow, so for good uh, programming exercise. So I classify into the three again. So classes and interface. So for the class, if you want to define the class and interface, so first letter will be the capital letter and intermediate level capital letter is again a capital letter, right? So as a system string, the first letter is capital. We will see the inside is string. So we are having another few classes, string buffer. So string buffer, so S is capital and intermediate letter B is also capital. Similarly in method and variables, so it's again start with lowercase and every inner word start with the word capital letter. So this is again reverse. So suppose two string, so 2 is small and 2 string, so S is the capital, like that. In case of package and constant, uh, this is again reverse. They are itself a reverse. So package is always the small letter, as we will see the all the packages. So one default package I told you, java.lang, all letters are small. But in constant, so called constant are always defined with the capital letter, uppercase, right? So suppose I want to store the max value, so max underscore value, all are capital letter and separated by underscore, right? So these are nomenclature, you can say the naming conventions, fine. So these all are just apply for the predefined. User defined can be anything, right? Not applicable, but for better programming experience, understanding to other developers, so use the word all the naming convention, whichever is applicable. So user defined means users, means me and you are developers, and predefined which is come with the what language. So these all are the user defined. Fine. Java identifier. So see, in Java we give some name. We define the class, so you give the name to the class. You define the variables, you give the name to the variables. You define the data types, you give the name. Define the method, also you give the name. So every name in Java is what identifies. Every name in Java is what identifies. For defining any variable, any identifier, so we are having some certain rules, right? So while declaring, we are having some rules. So what are the rules? You already gone through the experience with C and C++ and other programming languages. Might so declare the variables with some name, right? Given suppose as talking about the age. So given the age as in what variable name identify, which will identify the age, right? So similarly, what are the rules? So here the few rules are there. The identifiers can contain in Java. These are rules for the Java. Lowercase, maybe uppercase, the numbers, underscore, and dollar. So all such are applicable. Fine. Rule number 2, it should not start with number. Very important. Should not start with number. Check valid or invalid here. See the example. 2, 3, 4. You can see int abc 1, 2, 3. It's valid. Yes, because it's not started with the number. It started with the character. It is fine. Int underscore and dollar. Is it valid? Int 1, 2, 3 abc. It's not valid. abc dot 1, 2, 3. It's again not valid. So first two statement identifiers or the variables are valid. Remaining two are invalid. Right. Third rule, it is not possible to declare keyword as identifier. Definitely. So the 50 plus keywords are there, and somebody asks, suppose I want to be declare age by if int if equals to age, right? Age means some number 30, suppose as if is the already a keyword, right? So it is not possible. Rule number 4, it is not possible to use predefined class name and interface name as an identifier, but it's not recommended. Keywords cannot be, but class and interface, right? A type of classes, interfaces, maybe the identifier, but again, it's not recommended. Fine, it's not recommended. Rule number 5 is not length limit for identifier, but it is always recommended to take less than 16 characters. Right. Rule number 6, Java is cache sensitive language, right? Very important. So Java identifier is also cache sensitive. So suppose as I am saying int score. So SCOR means all are the capital and equals to 100. Another int score, all are the lowercase. So that is the another identifier. Understand? One is capital letter, all are the uppercase. Another one is the same one, but all are the small, lowercase. But these are two different identifiers because of the cache sensitive nature of the what Java programming. So understand, these are the rules. What about the comments? So and thing is what is the purpose of commenting? So whenever I want to be maintain the description of my logic, and I want that somebody else will get understood that my programming, whatever the logic I have written, so there are some small descriptions we needed. Or I define the variables, I want that the variables meaning is this, a class name, why the class name is this, why the method name is this. So for documentation purpose we generally use, right? So my code itself get understood by anyone. So if somebody else will read that code, so it will be get understood by the person completely. So that is the what purpose of the what comment. So there are three types of comments: single line, multi-line, and documentation, right? If we use the double slash, that is what the single line, and if I use slash and strict slash and strict and slash, so these are descriptive. And for the API documentations and all, so we are having documentation type of, so slash and strict and strict and strict and strict and strict and strict and then and strict slash. So that is what the three types of the comments in Java, and the purpose are different, right? And the comments never be get compiled. I understand, it is get ignored totally, and this is for the description purpose, right? Only Java variables. Okay, so let's talk about the variables in a Java. So this is very important because we use the variables, we define the variables, but sometimes we do not have a meaning why I define like that. And in Java it's very tricky the types of the variables, right? So now what we are going to be see the 5 component of Java, right? As I told you before, the variables, methods, constructor, instant block, and static block. So you have to be cover one by one. We'll cover the one by one. If you are listening this video, and so this is the first lecture, so we will cover variables. Similarly, in the next couple of videos, I'm going to be share with you the method and then constructor, instance block, and static block. Right. So first we will see the variables and what is the purpose of variables in Java, right? And how many types of variables are there? Fine. So can anybody tell me the purpose? Right. So basically, why I will define the variables which will store the values, and by using these values, we are achieving the requirement, right? So that is what my purpose. So there are three types of variables in Java. Right, means somebody defined the another fourth one, fifth one, whatever. So basically, what is my meaning here? I'm defining three types: local variables, instance variables, and static variable. Right. So global variable not is Java. Global variable type of thing is not in Java. It's only in C. So we are having local, instance, and static. Right. So let's see one by one. So we will have a good understanding. So few points which we will discuss with respect to all three types of variables. Another very important, right? Understand this fundamentals if you clear in very first shot, so it will help you to understand the flow of the code, right? Otherwise always you will be stuck के यहाँ मैंने define किया, यहाँ define नहीं किया, why I'm calling by object, why I'm not calling by object, how can I access this directly, how can I access this without object or with the object. So that is what the little bit tricky about, right? So few points we will discuss. Where we declare, हमें कहाँ declare करना होगा, scope of the variable. I hope you are clear with the C and C++ also. What is the scope of that variable? So here is the method, here is the class also. Memory allocations, another important, where the memory will get allocated to that variable. Memory destroy, when the memory will destroy. So these are, let me tell you another feature of the Java, that's automatic garbage collector, right? So there is another class you can use in util package. There is a gc, garbage collector is defined. But if user is not handling that garbage collector, then JVM will automatically perform the allocation and deallocation, right? So this is also another feature which is not the CN having, right? So another major difference with the features. Initial value of the variable is also important, right? How to access the variable, relation with the object, and store memories. So see, we are going to discuss all the at point, all following 8 points with all three types of variables. Then you are having clear understanding, and then you can make a comparison, right? Every variable must have some specific type, right? Definitely. So every variable having some specific type. The type is what, the maybe the primitive type, maybe the class type, or maybe the array type. So right, the few types are there. Primitive हो सकता है, maybe the class type. Primitive in the sense, suppose int age equals to 30 semicolon, so that is what primitive. So age is what primitive. The class type in the sense class student, and I'm making student s semicolon, that s is the what class type. And suppose I'm making array, so suppose I'm making string array of the student name, so string square bracket str semicolon, so that is the what string type. Fine. So local variable, with respect to first local variable, the class local, public static void main. I already explained you all such keywords. Int a equals to 10, int p equals to 20, system.out.println, what I am doing a plus b. Fine. So you can see here, variable which are declared inside the method is called the what, local variable. So that is the small definition with the local variable. You can see here a and b are the small, all a and b are the local variable because they are defined inside a method. So it may be inside within a constructor, maybe the instance block, maybe the static block, right? So the thing is what, inside the block. So scope, so again these a and b are the local variable. So variable which are declared inside the method is called the local variable. What is the scope of the variable? We know the scope of the variable is what? Within the main method, or maybe within the any normal method, a constructor, or blocks inside the method. When the memory will be allocated and destroyed, right? This is important. Kab उसे memory कब allocate होगा, right? So memory will be allocated when method will start. You can see here. So as example, void method. So a and b are the local variable to the method. So once the method will start, and then memory will be get allocated. When the method will be completed, automatically the memory will be deallocated, right? Where it is stored? The simple, whenever we talk about the local variable, it's type of the method, right? So it will always store in a stack memory, right? It will always store into the what? Stack memory. Remember it. See the default value of the local variable. So here the very simple example, I want to show you the initialization. So suppose I define a and b, and there are few line of code, right? Just showing you the with semicolon. So point is what, before using a and b, that a and b must be initialized. The JVM is not responsible to initialize the value of the local variable. Very important, right? Very important. For local variable, JVM is not responsible to initialize the value, right? Fine. So before using a and b, you have to be initialize it. The here SOP means system.out.println in a short, right? Don't use it in a programming, it's just for the explanation. So JVM will not assign default value initialized before using. That's a user. The user have to initialize it. So there are few exercises, you can see it and you can do the exercise and perform. I just put the logic over here and perform the executions and check the output, and what the logic can be fitted here. If I put this one, so what is the output? If I put this, and that is the output, so you have to just match the logic and expected output. So what are the possible output if I put the first line into the code and check the outputs? So you will get the what analysis. So after performing all the logic and generate the output, and you just match it, right? So just perform that exercise. If you have any doubt, so let me know. Second is type of variable is what? Instance variable, right? We discussed the local variable. Now we are going to discuss the instance variable. So Java contain two types of area generally. So for understanding the instance variable and static variable, which is the next third type of the variable, so you have to understand the instance area and static area. Very important. So Java contain two types of area, right? Instance area and static area. What is the difference? The static in the sense what, you put the static key modifier with the method. So that area, that block will become as what? Static. If it is not defined as a static, means that is the instance, right? I hope understood. So see the one method, void method, int a equals to 10, b equals to 20. So that is the instance method. But here the another method, the same method we define with the static modifier. So now that method area will become as what? Static. Fine. So now a and b also are part of the static area. I hope you understand. So before understanding and executions, you must be clear about that two area, right? Instance area and static area. You can see here class called as an instance. There are two variables, int a, int b. The method is static and another method m1, user defined. So here what we are doing, we are declaring the two variables inside a class, not inside a method, right? So inside a class, outside a method, is called instance variable. Inside a method, it's a local variable. Fine. As I told you, there is no global variable kind of concept in a Java, right? So means instance and static are type of the global variable, as you can consider. Everything will be inside a class. So means I want that every method, every constructor are allowed to access that particular variable. So means what you have to keep outside the method inside a class. Fine. So I hope you are clear with the definition. Inside class, outside the method. This type of variables are what? Instance variable. Right. As you can see, the main method is static. So the area of that method is static area. As you can see, M1 is a non-static, right? So that's instance method. So area is also instance. So variable declared inside the class but outside of the method is called the instance variable. What is the scope? You can see inside the class, all method, constructor and blocks are allowed to access that variable. That is what is scope. So throughout the class, okay, all class member can access. Memory allocation and deallocation. See, this is very important. When the memory will be allocated? When object of that class is created. जैसे हम object बनाएंगे इस class का, then the memory will initialize for all the instance variables. When the memory will destroy? When the object is destroyed, right? So this also handled by the what? JVM. So when object is created and destroyed. And when the object will be created, understand? When the object will be created and destroyed. Access permission of instance variable and method. So see how you will access that instance variable. Very important. So as I told you, there are two areas, instance area and static area. So if my variable is instance and I'm accessing from the instance area, so there is a direct access. My variables are instance, but I want to access from the static area. Then what? You have to make the object. What I'm trying to tell you, when the object is required, when the object is not required. When instance to instance, no object is required. Instance to static, object is required. So instance to instance, direct access. Instance to static, access through the object. Very important rule. See the example. A and B are the instance variable. The main method is the static. As you can see, an instance I equals to new of instance. So that line indicate the object creation of the instance class, and that is what I. I is the what reference, and new is the keyword through which we are initializing the memory for the I. So with this line, the A and B are get initialized with default value, but we are already giving the value as about 100 and 200. Now we are accessing SOP system.println I.A and I.B. So using object we are accessing the what? A and B. But as you can see here, the M1 method. M1 accessing A and B directly without object. Why? Because M1 is the instance method. So area is instance. And A and B are the instance variables. So you can access A and B here directly. Right. Okay. Is it clear? The main method, we need the object to access A and B, but in M1 method, user defined method, we don't need the object to access A and B because the area is same. See, in this case, we are not initializing A and B. So once we are going to compile the program and generate the output, so what value will be printed? So here, when we talk about the instance variable, JVM is responsible to initialize if user have not initialized the instance variable, right? So it will be initialized by default value. So for boolean it is false, for integer it is 0, right? So that value will be here. So JVM will assign the default value. Where it is stored, right? As a local variable, it is stored in a stack, so it is stored in a heap because that's a instance object. So all the object part will store in a heap memory. Okay, dynamic memory. The third type of variable that we call is a static variable. The just difference is what? In instance, we are not using static modifier, but in a static variable we will use the what static modifier. That is the what the difference, and then the variable will become as a what static. Fine. So the variable which are declared inside class outside method with static modifier is called as what? Static variables. Fine. I hope you are clear. What is the scope of the variable? Right. What is the scope? Similarly, the scope of the variable is what? As a class. So in a class, all the method can access constructor, but initially the static is not respect to the constructor. The blocks, static block can also there. So complete class and block can access. Third, memory allocation and destroy. So memory कब allocate होगा और कब destroy होगा, very important. In case of instance, as I told you, the object creation and object destroy, and then memory allocation and deallocation. But in case of static variable, as I told you initially, when we are going to execute the program, so we use Java command, Java and file name, application name. So JVM perform two actions. So first JVM load dot class file into the memory. So at that time, all the static variables are get initialized. Very important, right? So static variable memory is allocated when dot class file is loaded into the memory. Access permissions. So for the accessing the static variables, irrespective any type of area, access by class name, right? You can access by object as well as you can access by class name, or you can access by directly somewhere. So static to static and static to instance always is a nomenclature of the Java to access by the what class name, which is recommended. So static to instance using by class name, access static to static using by class name. See the example. There are two static variable a and b. The method is the instance method. We are accessing a and b by class name. Class name is what? Static variable. We are having man method. Man method is static. The area is same. Right? Static variable and static this. You can see you can access that a and b by class name. So this is what recommended by Java. Will it be called to M1 method? See, the M1 will not print it because from man you have to make the object first and then call the M1, because M1 is instance method, man method is static. So from static to instance you have to create the object, then only it will get called M1 method, otherwise not. You can see here. So static variable s goes to new static variable s dot m1. So it will call the m1 method, and then a and b will be called, executed, and it will get there. Where it is stored? So non-heap area, right? It's simple. So again, this is a part of the, we are having heap section and non-heap sections, right? So that all will be stored in the into the non-heap area. What about the default value? So very important. Similarly, as instance variable, the JVM. So JVM will assign the default value, because as JVM will store and JVM will initialize all the static variable during the dot class file will be loaded into the memory. So as during the same time, JVM will assign the what default value, right? So A will be a 0 and boolean B will be the what false default. So based on the so far what we have discussed, so compile the code and just giving you the steps: create two instance variable, two static method, and then execute. Create the two static method inside the main method and perform that logic. We will discuss into the next. Another exercise: create two instance variable, two static variable, one static method, one instance method, and call all type of variable. Do the exercise. Third exercise, do it right by yourself. There another class, three instance variable, the class student info, create the object of the class and call it. So I hope now you are able to make the difference between instance and static variables. So see the huge difference, very important difference which we must for the memory point of view. So it's take suppose I'm working in Charu set, so all the employees of the Charu set are having the same mm, university name, right? So in this case, I have to keep that variable as a what static, because the static, otherwise what happen whenever you are going to create the object for all the employees of the Charu set, so always it will be initialized. So all are working on the same, so there is only one common variable which is needed to address all the employees. No need to be initialized with the all employee. So it's a very important with a memory point of view. You can prepare a table for it and have a good comparison. So far, if you have any questions, so let me know, put into the comment. We will go through the, I will help you in the next and put if whatever the applicable, right?